Hi there, Perfecto here and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great day. For those of you who follow this channel, you may have noticed that I've been featuring a lot of guitar multi-effects recently, from the Headrush gig board to the all-new Moore GE300. And I may have mentioned once or twice in those videos how far guitar multi-effects technology has come. And that got me wondering, just how far has multi-effects technology come during all my years of playing? So I looked back and tried to remember all the multi-effects I have used during my career, and there is this one particular unit that I remember quite fondly. So I did a search on eBay and I found one such unit for not a lot of money, and it has arrived in this handy little package right here. So I'm going to open it up and show it to all you guys. This is the 505 Guitar Multi-Effects from Zoom. Now, I first heard this unit from Joey Odulio of Twisted Halo, and I was impressed enough that I bought my own unit and actually used this in live gigs during the Tri-Axis years from 1996 to around 1997. And I used it in every show, like from club gigs to concerts and even radio guestings, because in that type of setup you only go direct to the board with no amp, and this has a built-in amp and cab simulator that came in handy for those situations. I'm kind of excited actually. So I'm going to power this up, plug this in, and let's see if this is as good as I remembered it to be. Okay, hold on. Okay, here's the 505 all powered up and plugged in. I'm plugged into my Star ODS amplifier in the back, and that is mic'd up and being recorded straight into my computer. And I'll be using my Mixis PDC custom guitar. Right now it is in bypass, and here is the clean amp sound. Okay, so let's engage the pedal. It's that thick, meaty distortion sound that sold me on this pedal in the first place. So I'm glad that I didn't remember it wrong. Okay, this patch is whatever patch the previous owner has programmed, so I will go into edit mode and tweak it and see if I can remember how I used to set my patches. So edit. So this is the compressor section. I don't use compressors with my dirty tone, so I'm going to turn that off. Much better. Now next up is the distortion module, and I used to use the lead setting. So right now it is set to lead, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, and then gain, it's at 26. Let's see, 25. Not much of a difference, so I'm going to leave it at 25. Next up is the Zoom noise reduction. I don't like having a noise reduction in my signal chain, so if I recall correctly, I set this either off or at the bare minimum depending on how noisy the venue is. So let's see if it's all the way off. The reason why I don't use noise reduction in my patches is because I use a lot of dynamics in my playing, and sometimes I like to let the note die out without having something cut it off. Let's add maybe 2 or 3 clicks. Okay, we'll set it at 3 for now. Okay, next up is the EQ module. This is where a lot of 505 owners used to get it wrong, because since this is a minimalist pedals with not a lot of buttons. A lot of the settings are already preset. So the common idea is that if you have a low number, you cut the EQ, and if you have a high number, you boost something. Now at the time, a lot of other guitar players kept asking me how I get a good sound from this pedal, and when I check out their patches, all their EQ settings are in the high range. Okay, so the way this EQ works is that if you go 24 and below, you're boosting the lows, and 26 and above, you're boosting the highs. So what I used to do is just set it at 25, which is flat, and then I use the amp EQs to tweak the sound as opposed to relying on just the pedal. So if I go low, let's say 12, you can hear the lows are boosted, but then it also sounds muffled. Now if we go on the other end of the range, let's say 38, just because I feel like 38. Ah. And I can hear the high mids are very much pronounced. So this is 25. And that works good enough for me. So next up is the modulation section, which I don't use on Distortion, so we're going to skip that. Now, delay and reverb. Okay, if I'm going direct into a mixing board, I prefer the Hall setting. Okay, sounds nice and big. But in a live situation, since you're going to be performing in an actual space, I try not to use a lot of reverb. So most often than not, if I'm playing live with a band, I use a room reverb of some sort, or I even just turn it off completely. Let's check out the room. Now I remembered something just now. The delay and reverb are combined in one module. So you can't have delay plus reverb. It's only delay or reverb. Now in some gigs back then, the backline amp would have built-in reverb. So I believe sometimes I would use a delay patch with the longer delay settings and then just use the amp reverb. And with the delay, you can't tweak the delay level. You can only tweak the delay time. So lower settings give you a slapback effect. And the higher you go, the longer your delay time gets. I don't believe I use delay that much since, again, you can't set the level. So I think I had a couple of patches with delay, but I didn't use them a lot. And finally, we have the level module, which I set to 25 as well. And there you have it. That was my gig tone in the mid-1990s. Now let's save this tone in A1 and let's dial up another sound. Okay, now let's dial in a clean sound. Let's go to another patch. Okay, let's edit this thing. Compressor. Too much. Okay, that's it. Compressor set at 1. So the distortion module, usually it's off because it is a clean sound. Okay, next up is the noise reduction. Again, set it at the very bare minimum. I think we're just gonna leave it off for this patch. And then EQ, and again, I'm gonna set this at 25, which is the flat EQ setting, and have the amp's EQ take care of everything. Well, maybe bump up the highs a little bit. So let's see, 29, 30. that's better. Okay, then modulation. Now that I think about it, during the time I was not a big modulations guy, so I think I left the modulation off as well, even in the clean sound. So we'll leave that off for now. And then delay and reverb. But again, since we cannot tweak the delay level, I'm pretty sure that I left it off for the most part. Also at the time, Triaxis was a power trio. And I think my focus back then was to get a great basic guitar sound and just work everything out through the playing. Okay, now let's check out the other stuff that we can do with this. Ouch. Okay, we got one more test for the Zoom 505, and that is, let's see how good the amp and cab simulation is. So let me set that up. Okay, so now the 505 is now plugged directly into my audio interface with nothing on it. And this is how the distortion sounds. So the amp and cab simulation is included in the noise reduction module. Okay, so this is without the amp and cab simulation. Oof, gnarly. And this is with. It sounds like instead of a cab simulation, it's more of a heavy EQ treatment, trying to notch out all the offending frequencies off a direct signal. And I think the higher values with the amp sim on just engages the noise reduction. So I'll just put that on A3. And see, work out the direct signal, bigger hall reverb. Okay. Okay, so I stand by what I said, that guitar multi-effects technology has gone a really long way, particularly when you start going direct to the board. Another area of improvement in the current multi-effects lies in how everything feels under your fingers. Now, even with the Zoom 505 plugged directly into a very nice tube guitar amp, there is still somewhat of a disconnect between the sound that is being produced and what I'm actually feeling under my fingers on the strings. The Headrush gig board and the Moore GE300 definitely has a much better and more immediate tactile feel than the Zoom 505. And I'm pretty sure the same goes for pretty much every modern multi-effects unit. Now, I think the biggest leap in technology and improvement lies in the amp and cab modeling sections that are being offered today. Now, as you've heard in the Zoom 505 and pretty much every multi-effects of that era, amp and cab modeling is pretty much a drastic EQ treatment given to the direct guitar signal. Whereas nowadays, digital technology has finally caught up to our needs, where we are actually able to build digital models of actual guitar amps and cabinets, even the microphones and the spaces that these amps can be played in. And all these things can be edited and tweaked and manipulated and presented in every single way possible. It just boggles the mind. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this quick trip down memory lane, checking out all the sounds that I used to pull out of the Zoom 505, which is one of my most used pieces of gear when I was gigging back in the Philippines. I really enjoyed making this video because not only did I get to revisit a part of my career that was memorable, but also it makes me appreciate so much more everything that is available to us guitar players today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, or if you want to see a video shoot out between the Zoom 505 and the Headrush gig board or the Moore GE300. It's not even fair to call that a shootout. Maybe a comparison. Practice Makes Perfecto t-shirts are now available everywhere. You can get them through the YouTube merch shelf right below this video. Or if the merch shelf is not available in your area, you can go to perfectodecastro.threadless.com. That ships worldwide. And in the Philippines, you can get them on lazada.com.ph. All relevant links are in the description box below. If you dug this video, please give it a thumbs up like. Feel free to share it with your friends. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'm going to keep jamming with my Zoom 505 because you all know the drill. Practice makes perfecto.